Lots of exciting things going on over here. I wanted to talk with you guys about a couple things. My new book is out, and I have a new BPD skills subscription group. So I want to talk about both of those things, and then if anybody has any questions, of course, I'll be happy to answer those. So my newest book is called Get Over It, The No-Nonsense Guide to Transforming Betrayal Pain into Lasting Power. So that book is all about overcoming betrayal. So it's based on my betrayal experiences in the past decades of life, as well as working with patients for 20 plus years and helping them through their betrayal experiences. So that is live on Amazon now. It's $4.99 for just a few more days, and then it goes up next week. All about betrayal. So understanding the betrayal, understanding the betrayer, and then coping, figuring out how to get through that, how to, as the book says, get over it. And all the things that you're going to need to do that. It's not a mollycoddling, you're okay, I'm okay kind of book. That's not how I write, in case you guys haven't already read one of my other books. It's very matter of fact. It's compassionate, but it's firm about the protocol for getting through betrayal. The other thing that I'm excited about is the BPD skills group. So that is here on TikTok. It's $19.99 a month, and you get your first 7 days free, just so you can check it out. It's free. Try it. See if it works for you. If it doesn't, that's okay. You set a reminder in your phone for a few days in so that you can go in and cancel it. Otherwise, you just roll on through and you'll start the $19.99 a month. So in that group, there is a whole library already. A couple dozen videos probably already established for coping with triggers, for dealing with past hurts, for handling emotional dysregulation. We've talked about all 4 modules of DBT. There's a BPD crisis survival kit. There's a letter teaching you how to write a letter to yourself so that you can use it when you're not in wise mind and you want to be. 10 distractions in under 5 minutes. There's so many things going on in the group. And eventually, once TikTok gives me permission, I can do lives in the group as well. And those will just be for the subscribers. So right now there's a full library over there, and I'm open to any feedback that people have about what they want to see in the group. So I always ask the readers or the subscribers to give me information about what they're looking for. So you can always do that if you want specific help. And then the lives will be geared toward that as well, to handling specific questions. So those are the things I have going on, the new book and the subscription group. Wanted to see if you guys have any questions about those, anything I can answer about that, anything about anything else. If you don't have any questions about either of those things, then any questions that you have in general about mental health or specifically BPD. I've been treating BPD for over 20 years, and I see people grow and change and evolve, make progress every single week in my office. So it's definitely possible. I know a lot of people feel overwhelmed by the emotional dysregulation. They feel like there's nothing they can do. There is a ton of things that you can do, lots of strategies that you can use to help keep yourself better regulated, and then to move from reacting to responding. So just taking a look at all of the different things that you can do, lots of strategies for minding that gap between your perception of things and then how you respond to it. So we want to be mindful of that gap. I've talked about it before, like if you've ever ridden a train and you step off the train onto the platform, it says mind the gap. That's what we want to do. We want to mind that space between your perception, what's coming in through your 5 senses, and then how you respond. So someone's asking about a significant other with BPD. I don't know how to tell him. That's really tough. You have to be careful. If you're not a diagnostician, then you have to be careful about telling someone what you think they have. But if you want to approach it, I think it's just a matter of doing so from a place of compassion and concern. So I will tell people you can share videos. Sometimes it's easier to share like a video from my page or another provider's page to kind of say, hey, I think maybe this might be going on, or this reminds me of that issue we had last night. Would you be willing to take a look at it? I noticed that you really struggle to regulate your emotions. It seems like you're not real happy about the way that you respond or react to things sometimes. So I would love to share some information. I've been doing some research. I love you and I want to help. I'll share the research with you. Take it or leave it, totally up to you. But I just want you to feel better and I don't want you to suffer and I want our relationship to be stronger. So there's a few different ideas about how to approach it, but just sharing with your loved one what your concern is, asking them if they'd be willing to consider some information that you found or that you researched or that you have come across. Thank you guys for joining. I see some of you popping on. Thank you for joining us. We're talking about my new book, the BPD Skills Subscription Group, and then talking with your loved one about how you think they may have BPD. So you're a psychotherapist. Awesome. So I think there are lots of ways to share that concern. So hopefully some of those strategies help and you can try that out. I think it's challenging. That's not an easy place to be in, but if you're doing it from a place of compassion, you're speaking from the heart, you're speaking from a place of concern, I feel like that's the best you can do, right? All right. Have you seen BPD in people who have repressed and forgotten their sexual abuse? It's hard to say, right? Because if they've repressed and forgotten it, I don't ever know that they experienced it. I guess the bigger part of your question is that possible? And yes, that's possible. You can have gone through abuse and repressed it, and it still impacted you and made you see the world in a certain way and made you fearful about certain things, made you hypervigilant. It caused all of those issues or symptoms, but you don't actually remember being hurt or abused or neglected or whatever. So I do think it's possible. I've not seen a patient that I can recall where I've diagnosed BPD and they don't have any recollection of any trauma or abuse, and then they come back later and say, oh my gosh, this occurred to me, or, I did some repressed memory work, or I had this dream, or I haven't seen that. I have no doubt it's possible though, because I think the brain wants to protect you, so it helps you repress things, but the subconscious mind is still processing what happened, and so then we see out of that the manifestation of BPD symptoms. So good question. I do definitely think it's possible. Other questions about my new betrayal book, Overcoming Betrayal of Any Kind, Any Betrayal on the Spectrum. The BPD Skills Group that we're doing here on TikTok, it's free for 7 days. You can tap the subscription link in my profile and you can grab yourself a 7-day free trial. Set a reminder in your phone a few days in to evaluate whether it's working for you and then let it roll. Or go in and cancel it if you don't want to pay the $19.99 a month. Wander, you are so welcome. Thank you. I'm glad that you find the content helpful. I always like knowing that what I'm doing is helping people, right? Like we put as providers and content creators, we put all this content out there and you just never know who's listening. You just never know who it's going to help. So I appreciate that. And thank you guys for sending all of the likes and all the love. Other questions about stuff that I'm doing or other things that are going on. Thank you, Pauline. That's so sweet. And from France. Awesome. So I'm in Arizona in the United States, of course. So I love hearing that people from all over the world are coming in and that this information is reaching people worldwide. So that's very exciting. Pauline, you mentioned being a provider as well. So that just reminded me that if any other providers are listening, it's the BPD skills group. Actually, you can take that content and directly use it with your clients as well. So you don't have to be someone with BPD to be in the group. You can be someone who supports someone with BPD, because we talk about ways to communicate and validate and things like that. You can also be a provider who then takes those skills, takes that content, and then uses it with your patients. So that's always an option. Other comments, questions, concerns. I see several of you on. Thank you for joining me. Had some time between patients today. It's been a while since I did a live, so I thought I would hop on. It's helping me on a daily basis. That's awesome. I saw you on my For You page. What's this live about? So, Wander, I will come back to your question. That's a great question. I get that a lot. So, we're talking about, I'm a relationship and borderline personality disorder specialist. Today we're talking about a new book that I just released on overcoming betrayal, whatever betrayal on the continuum you've experienced. We all do. It's part of the human condition. So the book was written for everyone. And then my BPD skills subscription group here on TikTok, it's $19.99 a month, free for 7 days, so you can evaluate whether it works for you. So that's the long and short of it. Maria, welcome. Wonder if it's not too personal, why did you choose to focus on BPD? So I think what I noticed early on in my career is that I ran into a lot of people with emotional dysregulation. Like life, this world, living in this world, planet of over 8 billion people at this point, all the things that a person can go through, a lot of people come to me emotionally dysregulated. And some of them expressing these personality disorder symptoms. And so I noticed that I was seeing a lot of people who were really overwhelmed, stressed out, just had a lot going on. And I figured out that if I could help them change their perspective, change their thinking, target their underlying subconscious self-limiting beliefs, then I could help them change their reactions and turn their reactions into responses. Because the way we operate is thought, feeling, behavior. So everything, that comes into our minds is a thought first. That generates a feeling, and then that generates behavior. And so just seeing people process things in such a way that they were very black and white in their thinking and personalized things, and I could give them a different perspective, that just was awesome because it was very rewarding, honestly. I get a lot out of helping people with BPD. A lot of them there's so much room for improvement because they just feel so overwhelmed with life that it's so rewarding to watch them improve and succeed and so forth. So hopefully that answers your question. If you want something more specific, let me know. All right, new messages. How come starting a new relationship triggers my BPD? Great question. So a lot of people with BPD, they do just fine by themselves. They're in their thoughts. I mean, now with the advent of social media, you're really never truly alone. You can see plenty of things on social media that could trigger you, but relationships will trigger issues because most of the time, what leads to BPD is trauma, whether that's abuse or neglect. And so if you had that experience in a relationship with someone, whether you knew them well or didn't, it changes your whole idea about relationships. It makes you hypervigilant. It may make you obsessive. There's the favorite person stuff that comes up. And so it's in that relationship that you're experiencing these things. So it's just a function of having someone else in your world, I guess, at that point. And so someone else whose thoughts you are trying to manage, whose feelings you're trying to navigate. And then that's when all the black and white thinking comes in. So everything gets personalized, things get catastrophized, blown out of proportion, that kind of thing. So I think a lot of it comes from the initial trauma was in a relationship. And so then these are relationships that we're talking about. The other thing is the initial trauma changed your worldview, how you see the world and people in it. And so then that's going to create relationship issues. So hopefully that helps, Mick. Questionnaire to find out if you have BPD. So you can go online and search for DSM-5 BPD criteria, and you will get all kinds of information about the criteria. I have done videos, they're older in my feed, actually I think I just pinned one yesterday, the criteria for borderline personality disorder. It's one of my pinned videos, actually. Your timing is perfect. So I walk through the symptoms there, and you can go through and look at that. A while back, it's been over a year now, I did a series on BPD symptoms in real life. So I broke each symptom down, each of the 9, and talked about what this looks like, how it might manifest, what you might see, etc. So you can find those if you scroll down. I've got my hair down, and I'm wearing a black dress with like a kimono that has like green flowers on it. It's pretty far down in there, but let me know if you can't find it. Shoot me a message and I'll do my best to get that to you. The best way to get a diagnosis is to undergo thorough clinical evaluation with a licensed psychologist, preferably someone who or who is versed in personality disorders. So that's a specialty of mine. So hopefully those videos will help you. Is it in audiobook? So my Betrayal book is currently in ebook only. That's the only way Amazon will let you do pre-sales, which is where I can make the price really low. So it's under $5 now. It's ebook only. The print versions will be released next week. And audiobook, I haven't done that yet. I want to read my own book, so I have to sit down and do it, and I just haven't made the time to do that. I've been too busy focused on the print versions for now. Maria, you're welcome. Thank you for following. Okay, I'm getting to your messages. Thank you for your patience. Mick, you're welcome so much. Wander, I get really triggered at work. I overfocus on every comment. It's exhausting. Yeah, so that's the black and white thinking. And I think the biggest challenge within black and white thinking for people with BPD or just emotional reactivity is personalizing. And what you have to remember, I just had a conversation with a patient about this afternoon. Nothing is personal. Nothing. Anything anyone else thinks, says, does, believes, the way they behave, that is all about them and not about you. Even when someone gives you a compliment, let's think about this. Someone gives you a compliment, it's wonderful, it's flattering, right? But that's about them and their desire for you to know that they feel this way, right? Just like if someone gives you feedback or someone criticizes you. Lord knows I've dealt with plenty of haters with 37,000 followers on TikTok. So anytime anyone needs to chime in, if they have, important feedback for me, and that has happened many times, like, hey, consider this, or maybe this, or what do you think about this? I'm totally open to that. The people who are just on there hating, the trolls, that's about them and their need to hate on something they don't understand, or they don't want to acknowledge, or they're just keyboard warriors and they're just sitting there, it's likely not something they would say to my face, but they're keyboard warriors, and so they're putting it in the comment section because that's safer. So long story short, it's a matter of working the CBT skills and DBT skills so that you can learn to change the way you think about things. You have to change the way things occur to you. So you guys have heard me say before, BPD is an information processing disorder. By nature, it's a personality disorder, but it's also an information processing disorder. So you have to change the way information occurs to you. When you can change your thinking, that changes the thoughts that are or the feelings that are generated, and then the behavior that comes out of that. So I've done a lot of videos and a lot in the subscription group as well about dealing with things that trigger you so that you don't overfocus, hyperreact, misreact, whatever you want to call it. Okay, recently diagnosed with Kia. I'm not sure what the rest of that is. Okay, sorry, I know this is shaking. It's really annoying. It keeps jumping ahead. Okay. How do I cope when my feelings aren't valid by a parent saying you're too old to be like this? Okay, well, I don't know what too old means, and I don't know what this means. So I would ask them those questions, like, what do you mean when you say that? Or be like, how? You have to learn to validate your own feelings. And if what they're commenting on is that you're hyperreactive to things or you're sensitive to things and that ends up hurting you based on how you receive information, then that's something to take a look at. But you can also give them information. I've done videos on how to validate people with BPD. If you go in my feed, look for the videos. My hair is up and I've got a bright green kimono on. So those videos you could share with them, like how to communicate and support someone with BPD. So that information might be helpful. If they're willing to listen, you can offer that to them. It triggers so a lot and I tend to split. Yeah. So splitting is based on perception. And if you guys have seen my recent videos on splitting is a defense mechanism. It's protective. It's a coping skill. It helps you stay safe. So somewhere along the way in your life, you learned that other people aren't safe. So what's happened is your head is on a swivel and you're constantly alert for insults or hurt from the environment. And so then when someone hurts you in some way, physically, verbally, whatever, the walls go up, and that's where the splitting occurs. Now you see them in all bad because that is safer. And what you have to realize, lots of self-talk, lots of DBT and CBT, you have to realize that, first of all, nothing is personal, like I just said. And then the other thing is recognizing that there are ways to come into the gray. So think most of life is not black and white, life or death. So finding skills, developing skills to come into the gray and see things differently, that's going to be the goal for you, for your work. Okay. Okay. Oh, do you work on the trauma that caused the BPD while simultaneously working on the BPD? Do you work on the trauma, that caused the BPD while simultaneously working on the BPD? It depends. So some people, they can't do anything BPD or DBT related, and because this trauma is hanging on them. So we will do like desensitization with EMDR at first. Other people, they're not ready for that. The trauma is too much. It's overwhelming. They're not ready to move through that. And so then we focus on DBT skills. We focus really on self-regulation. And then we build skills, and then we address the trauma. Some patients can do both at the same time. And so we do that. We might work on EMDR 1 week. The next week they come in and there have been these 3 issues that came up in their week that they want to discuss. We pause the EMDR. We go and deal with those more urgent issues. So it depends. Some people it's just DBT, some people it's just trauma work, and some people are able to do both. Really just depends on the person, what they're able to tolerate. Bray, you're welcome. Okay, I think I got everybody's questions. Other questions about my Betrayal book, the subscription group, BPD, personality disorders in general, anything mental health. If I missed your question, please type it again. I am doing my best here to keep up with the comments, but if I missed it, let me know. Other questions that you guys have? Sent you a message, really need your help. Could you read it and help me when you can? Oops. I don't know what I just did. Okay, sorry. Yes, depending on what it is, the first thing I'm gonna ask you is how old are you and what state are you in, to see if it's a state that covers my practice, because I can practice in most states in the United States. Outside of the country, that depends on the rules in your country, state, province, territory, area, what have you. But if it's something that I can work with, I can talk with you about the options for treatment. I can't give advice in my comment or in my DMs because my license doesn't protect that. I have to be in a contract with someone. They have to sign a consent form that allows me to treat them, et cetera, et cetera. I have to protect my license. It's my livelihood. So that'll be the first question that I ask you. But if I'm not able to help you, I can try to direct you towards some resources. So I will check my messages this afternoon. Okay, it says 5 new messages. Let's see where they are. Okay, and so then I have to go back. TikTok's got to do better with this. This just got to be a better way. I mean, I can't be the only one. Just got diagnosed with borderline. I don't know how to feel about it. So that's a common response. I tell people, look, at least you have a label. If the label is accurate, assuming it's accurate and it was given by a professional, at least you have a label. Now you can come up with a treatment plan. So I've done videos. There's a pinned video actually right now on my page about the criteria for BPD. So you can go through that and listen. I also did a series, it's been over a year ago now, for the BPD symptoms in real life, so you can see how those fit. I think the best thing to do is start doing research and start finding resources that can help. So I can see people in most states of the United States. If you want to reach out, we can start a conversation about that. Excuse me. I also just started a BPD skills support group. So that is $19.99 a month, and you can go get a free 7-day trial by tapping that subscription link in my profile. So having mixed feelings, not being sure how to feel about it, totally normal. Hi, Jen. I don't feel EMDR was for me. What's something else to try? This is for complicated PTSD. So PTSD, the best treatment we know of for PTSD is prolonged exposure. EMDR is a form of that. The idea is that the more we expose you to the trauma, the more desensitized you become, so the less impact it has on you. So if EMDR is not your jam, then you're looking at trying to do a different form of prolonged exposure. So you can ask your therapist about what are the other options. A lot of times there are writing exercises. Sometimes it's just talking through the trauma. One time over multiple sessions thoroughly, or maybe multiple times. And just figuring out ways that you can take greater control of the emotions that generates. So a lot of what comes out of the trauma, you can target that too. So if there's splitting, you can work on skills for that. But the trauma itself, prolonged exposure is the best treatment that we know of currently. So if it's not EMDR, you're going to want to maybe find another way to do that. Patient's 18-year-old, too early for a BPD diagnosis. Excuse me, Pauline, no. Theoretically, personality disorders are not to be diagnosed until the age of 18. However, there are certain circumstances where it can be diagnosed earlier if there is a preponderance of evidence, history of hospitalization, a number of different things we can actually diagnose before the age of 18. Usually we don't. We use oppositional defiant disorder, intermittent explosive disorder, things like that. But ultimately, to answer your question, is 18 years old too young? No. About your book, is betrayal something commonly experienced by people with BPD? Absolutely. Most BPD comes from trauma. So I've done videos on the 4 different causes of BPD, but one of the prevailing theories is that people with BPD are born with an emotional sensitivity, and then something happens in their life that serves as a catalyst and moves them into developing the BPD symptoms. I don't know that people are necessarily born with that sensitivity. I don't know if I fully agree with that in 100% of cases. I think sometimes people are born without an emotional sensitivity, and their life just sucks and bad things happen, and it changes the way that they see people in the world. So betrayal is very common. And the book is for betrayal in terms of abuse, infidelity, professional betrayal, which is where I wrote the book out of actually multiple professional betrayals, but one of them happened last year. And that was the catalyst for the entire book, 32,000 words. So any kind of betrayal, the book covers that, whether you have BPD or not. But it is common in people with BPD. Okay. Okay. I went through a 4-hour mental evaluation. Okay. Assuming they did the right testing and these evaluators are worth their salt, then it's probably a reasonable diagnosis. So hopefully what they did as part of that psychological evaluation is they made recommendations at the end for how you can get help. And you can start there. Or you can do a search online for DBT, do your own stuff online, get a therapist, go to a group, join the subscription group, whatever is helpful. But if it's a thorough evaluation done by the right kind of provider, it's probably accurate. It should be accurate. 19 years, I need advice to help my friend who's 16 years older with BPT. I'm assuming that means BPD. We talked about this a little bit earlier in terms of offering your input in a compassionate way that speaks about your concern and your desire for them not to suffer. You can also speak about it in an observatory or factual way, like, hey, here's what I've noticed or what I've observed that seems to really be torturing you or causing you anguish or upset. I ran across this video. I'd love for you to take a look and see if you think it's helpful. You can get them a book. There's I Hate You, Don't Leave Me. There's Get Me Out of Here by Rachel Ryland. There are books you can share. It's just a matter of whether your friend is open to the input. Wrote more about the situation in the message. Okay, perfect. I will take a look at that later. I see. Seeing you on this live is my sign to set up with you. I've been putting it off. Buttercup, absolutely. Let's get going. Let's accomplish something. You deserve relief. Living in suffering is just not cool. Pauline, you're welcome. So is splitting basically whenever someone does one of your triggers, then you feel intense anger? I mean, yeah. I mean, that's one way to put it. Like, somebody does something and splitting is engaged to protect you. So it's a survival skill. It's a coping mechanism. It's a self-protection. But whatever they do gets you feeling a certain way, and you split them into all good or all bad. Most of the time it's all bad. The walls come up because you feel like you need to protect yourself. Excuse me. And then you are engaged in the black and white thinking. A lot of times it's anger that is what manifests. You have to remember anger is a secondary emotion. So, excuse me, when you do feel angry, you have to figure out what's going on beneath that. Sadness, shame, guilt, embarrassment, fear, anxiety, worry, whatever. Anger is secondary. Anger is that part of the iceberg that you see when you're getting to the bottom of anger and trying to figure out how to not split on people. You have to look at that part of the iceberg below the surface. So I write about that in the Betrayal book. Actually, it's called The Iceberg Theory of Anger. Okay. I'm in New Zealand and can't get in anywhere to get any support or to get evaluated. So I hear this a lot. People, they're wherever they are, especially if they have socialized medicine. I don't know what New Zealand has off the top of my head, but a lot of times they struggle to get in. In America, we don't have that, and it's still challenging to get in. We just need more providers. So I think you have a few options. Whether I can work with you depends on what the rules are in your country, state, province, area, territory. And so you can find out what those are. What are the rules for an American psychologist seeing a patient in New Zealand? That's the chat search that I would do. Outside of that, you can join the BPD Skills subscription group for 7 days for free and see if that content resonates with you. And then whether you're diagnosed or not, if you find the content useful, it can help you with emotional regulation. You can also, I have videos on my page about the criteria for BPD. One of them is pinned, and several of them, the BPD symptoms in real life, it's been over a year ago now, so you'll have to scroll down and see those. And it's like BPD symptom 1 IRL. So what this looks like in real life, what you might expect to see. So lots of resources. And on my website, drbellingrodt.com, there are other resources. Under the resources tab, my website was just redone, so I'd love for you to take a look at it. Under the resources tab, if you scroll down, there's information about resources for help with borderline personality disorder. Most of them are books that you can avail yourself of. But otherwise, shoot me a message and we can talk more about that. 1010, you're welcome. Okay. Other questions? Questions about BPD or the book or the group? I will look into that. Thank you. My mom has recently reached out to you about me as she's worried. Oh, okay. Great. Yeah, look into that and let me know how I can be helpful. I'm glad you hopped on. Hopefully we can figure out a way to do some work together and get you some relief. Yeah, look into those videos and then message me with any questions, Kayla. I'm sorry, this is shaking you guys. Okay. Other comments or questions? Appreciate you guys coming on in the middle of the afternoon. All right. Other questions about BPD or personality disorders, mental health in general? It doesn't have to be about BPD. That's just my favorite thing to treat. It's my specialty. If you're just joining us, I was talking earlier about my Betrayal book. Just came out. It's $4.99 on Amazon right now for a few more days. And then that is all about different types of betrayal. Pauline, thank you. Good night. It's about all different types of betrayal and how to overcome those. So whether that's abuse, infidelity, professional betrayal, which is what I went through, you name it, that's in the book. Does BPD stand for bipolar disorder or borderline personality disorder? Great question. So BPD stands for borderline personality disorder. Some people use it as an abbreviation for bipolar disorder, but that's usually abbreviated BD. So it can be confusing, and people use the acronyms for different things. But BPD stands for borderline personality disorder in the psychology parlance. Okay, so the other thing is, for anyone listening with emotional regulation issues, my BPD skills subscription group, you're welcome, Lone Wolf. My skills subscription group is live now, and that is $19.99 a month, but you get a 7-day free trial to see if the content works for you. Set a reminder in your phone a few days in so that you can go back in and evaluate whether you want to keep going and then pay the monthly fee, or if you want to turn that off, cancel it, so that you're not charged. I want people to have that chance to see if the content works for them. I'm not for everybody. I know this. And so this gives you an opportunity to try it free for 7 days. So just tap the subscription link in my profile and you can check it out for 7 days, see what you think. Huge library of videos already in there. And I'm always taking feedback from customers, subscribers, to see what else I can help them with or what it is that they want to work on. And then we, build video content around it, and should be able to start lives in there soon when TikTok gives me permission to do that. Recently diagnosed BPD and CPTSD, can't regulate emotions at all and can't understand. So the first thing to do is figure out how to get some help. You are on a planet of over 8 billion people. You were not designed to go this journey alone. There's lots of help available. If you go to drbellingrodt.com, I have books there. Depending on where you live and how old you are, I can work with you. You can email or you can message me privately and we can start a conversation about that. I have lots of videos about BPD and what the symptoms look like in real life. The subscription group that's free for 7 days, we're talking all about emotional regulation, how to avoid splitting, how to communicate what you want. We've gone through the DBT modules, like the first run through those, and we're building BPD crisis survival kits. We're building 10 distractions in under 5 minutes. There's lots of stuff going on in the group, so you can join that free for 7 days. Just tap the subscription link. And if you have any questions, just message me. Had BPD for 20 years, currently having DBT therapy. That's awesome, Carly. I'm super excited to hear that. Highly recommend. There are some people who don't respond to DBT, but I think that, you're welcome, Ellie. I think that there are other treatments. It doesn't have to be DBT. I've just found that to be the most effective. At the same time, I don't go like line by line in the DBT treatment manual though, right? Like if I'm working with you one-on-one, we're building rapport, I'm getting a thorough history because everything that's happened to you until the point you sit in front of me has influenced who you are and how you think and behave. So that's all part of it. Meanwhile, we're kind of figuring out what it is that will work for you. And emotional regulation is the thing that we generally start with. And DBT just has some great ideas about that. Yay, I caught your live. I started seeing a psychiatrist, immediately put on lithium. Frowny face. So don't frown. If it's working for you, then great. Maybe it remains to be seen. Thank you for joining the live today. I'm excited that you're excited. I think lithium is a really great drug for a small subset of the population. A lot of times it's used as a last resort when some of the other more modern medicines don't work. Sometimes it's used, and not as a last resort in like a desperate way, but it's like we figured out that these medications and their mechanisms of action don't work for everybody. And so sometimes we go old school and put people on lithium, and that works really well for them. This is as inpatient. Carly, say more. Oh, DBT, you're doing DBT as an inpatient. What great. That should be very intensive and very thorough. I feel like it was a little soon after one meeting, Melissa. That's fair. I would be surprised after one meeting, but it depends, psychiatrists are prescribers. That's what they do is med management. Some of them do natural remedies, things like that. So if they really felt compelled to diagnose you with BPD, that diagnosis really fit. They had enough evidence to make that diagnosis. Or if you came on referral from a psychologist or other therapist who already had that kind of thinking. I generally tell people try therapy first. I am not opposed to medication, fully believe in better living through modern chemistry. But I think that your best bet is to try therapy first and develop coping skills. Because even if you're on medication, you still are going to be working on coping skills. Medication's not a cure-all. So it on the surface, Melissa, it does seem a little soon, but I don't know what all the other factors are. Therapist doesn't want to know history or things going on outside the hospital. So Carly, unfortunately, that's not uncommon in the hospital because they usually are able to have you there for a limited time. So they want to build into you as many coping skills and whatever as possible. So they don't really have the time like in a one-on-one treatment outpatient where they're digging into history. So I think it's really important. I think right now in the hospital, you just absorb as much as you can, take copious notes, write down everything about DBT that's helpful to you, write down what works. Been here 7 months and up to 2 years. That is a longer time. I wonder if maybe you could ask for an individual therapist to, maybe that's what you're talking about, but an individual therapist to I want to understand how I got this way. I would say it's very difficult to change your personal narrative if you don't even understand how it was written in the first place. So people who understand why they behave the way they do are more likely to change their behavior. So you're in an inpatient setting. I would take full advantage of that and say, I want to talk to someone privately about, or in a group or whatever you're allowed, about how I got to where I am. Let them know that it's important to you, that you understand why you think this way. That's huge. I've asked for therapy to talk about what my life is about. Okay, I would say keep asking. I mean, that's the best that you can do. Otherwise, you go through their treatment and take from it what you can. Okay. Yeah, you have rights. And so, I would keep asking for that. If they just can't give it to you, won't give it to you, don't give it to you, then make the very most of the DBT that you're learning and build yourself a toolbox while you're there. Okay. All right, you guys. Other comments, questions, concerns, don't be afraid. Chime in. If you have the questions, somebody else does too. All right. I would love to see you guys over in my subscription group. 7 days for free and then $19.99 for a month. Baby Bree, hi, thank you for your videos. They've helped me a lot. Oh, thank you. Thank you for saying that. I am glad that they are helpful. As I said earlier, we always want to know that when we're creating content as mental health providers, we pray that it helps somebody, right? So it's great to hear that is useful. Just diagnosed in the past month and found you. Awesome. I'm proud of you for jumping in right away and doing research and trying to find some resources, and hopefully you can get involved with an individual therapist and get going with some DBT. Rebecca, what is the best therapy for BPD? I think DBT, Dialectical Behavior Therapy by Marsha Linehan. Marsha Linehan created DBT after being in the hospital for 26 months herself. She didn't like the protocol. It wasn't working for her. She didn't like what they were doing, so she wrote her own. And it's the best thing we have going. There are some people who say that it doesn't work for them, and that's fine. Nothing is for everyone. But I would also wonder about how the therapist is implementing it, and if they're going line by line and being very manualized and very uptight about it, or whatever. If they're not getting a thorough history and taking the time to build rapport and do all of those things first, then that may not feel so great. But the short answer to your question, Rebecca, is DBT. That's what I use. And that's what we're doing in my BPD skills subscription group. I mean, we're talking about other things, not DBT related. So understanding trauma, understanding how you got to think the way that you do, why you behave this way, and really making those connections for yourself, because you're more likely to make the changes if you understand how you landed here in the first place. Dissociation, zoning out, is that part of BPD and CPTSD? Yes. So if you go on my page, Shrink Think with Dr. Jen. I pinned a video just last night of me going through the borderline personality disorder criteria, and one of those includes dissociative experiences, so you can get more information about that there. And then it's been over a year now, but I did a series on each of the BPD symptoms in real life and what that looks like, so you can scroll down and find that. Okay. Giving it time to buffer and catch up. Your videos have helped me find the courage to get help. Thank you. Melissa, that's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. It does take courage to get help, but it's really one of those situations of like, choose your hard, right? It's hard to do the work and get better from BPD or any other mental health issue or physical health issue for that matter. But it's also hard to stay stuck in it and feel like you're suffering or feel like you're a victim of your past or a victim of your symptoms. So I always say choose your hard. Like it's hard either way, but the hard of getting the help and getting better, that's temporary. And then once you're better, you implement those skills and you get on with your life. Rebecca, you're welcome. Do you know of groups for parents that have a child with BPD? Off the top of my head, I don't. There are books on my website, drbellingrodt.com, that you can go into the resources tab, and I have books on borderline personality disorder that might be helpful. So I Hate You, Don't Leave Me is one of them. Get Me Out of Here is written by someone with BPD, and it details her journey so you can kind of understand what it's like for people. The stuff in my subscription group is actually helpful for people who support people with BPD. So that's an option. I do individual therapy with parents and loved ones of people with BPD as well. So I can walk you through like what that looks like, what they're going through, why they're behaving the way they do, how you can respond with boundaries, when to call for help, all of those things. So if you want more information about the one-on-one stuff, then just shoot me a message. What are some signs that you don't have BPD? Josephine, you're going to have to say more about that. I'm sorry, I'm not tracking. There are plenty of people who don't have symptoms of BPD or don't have symptoms of mental health conditions. I guess the first thing that comes to my mind is if you don't have any trouble regulating your emotions. If it's not, to make any mental health diagnosis, the person has to have challenges in their world, interpersonally, occupationally, socially, whatever. So if you're not having any issues with regulating your emotions or how you're, reacting or acting out or whatever, then chances are you don't have BPD. The emotional dysregulation is a huge piece of it. Now, of course, you don't have to have all 9 symptoms of BPD to have it. You just need 5 of the 9. So say more about that, Josephine, if I'm not answering your question. But basically it's about, any mental health diagnosis is, okay, you have maybe these symptoms, but is it causing issues in your life? Like, is it keeping you up at night? Is it causing problems at work? Is it causing problems in your relationship? Like that's how we evaluate whether someone gets the diagnosis. It's based on the symptoms, but it's also based on how it's impacting them. And usually people with that cluster of symptoms are having some significant interpersonal, occupational, whatever issues. So, but Josephine, if there's more I can say about that, let me know. Okay, saying one new message, but I don't see it. Thank you guys for the love. I appreciate it. I'm glad y'all are here. As I said, I had some time between patients, so I thought I would hop on and do a live and see what you guys are up to, talk about the book that I just released on betrayal, any kind of betrayal. It's the protocol for overcoming it. And then the BPD skills subscription group, tap the subscription link in my profile and get yourself a free trial for 7 days. See if it works for you. I'm not for everybody, and that's fine. I want you to have a free trial so that you can see if that content fits. Hi, I have BPD and your content has really helped. Thank you, LVR. I appreciate that. Thank you for chiming in. It's really reinforcing and validating, right? Because I'm sitting here on the end of the screen, putting all this content out there, and I see the views and likes and shares and whatever, but you just never know how much it's helping someone. So it's really kind of you to say that. I appreciate it. I'm glad to know that. I've been doing this for over 20 years, and I can't imagine doing anything else. And people with BPD are my favorite patients to work with because there's so much hope. There's so much room for improvement. A lot of them are feeling very overwhelmed and anguished and tormented when they come in. And to be able to be that person who's like, hey, it doesn't have to be this way. Look, we can do this. That's hugely rewarding. It's awesome. So thank you. Definitely a calling. I love it. I feel compelled. So I enjoy working with personality disorders. Wait, did you tell me to get a bio? Ezzy, I don't know what that means. Sorry. Say more. Will there ever be a day that BPD disappears? Rebecca, sadly, I don't think so. Because of the way, the 4 different causes of BPD, because of the way that can come about, excuse me, with trauma being the most common cause, abuse and neglect, I don't think it's ever going to go away, unfortunately. I would love that day. I would love that day. But there are people who say that BPD is one of the most treatable mental health conditions out there, and that flies in the face of a lot of myths around it. I would say it's true, but I mean, I've been doing this for 20 years, and what keeps me coming back is that people are getting better. What we're doing is working, and they're feeling better. So, these haters who come on and say people with BPD don't deserve relationships or they don't deserve blah, 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 all that crap. Like, y'all probably seen my rants about that. Like, just get out of here with that crap. Seriously, like, we don't have time for that. But highly treatable. Okay, I see you clarified. I mean, to do my bio. Like, am I telling you to write a biography? Sorry, you're going to have to say more, girl. My daughter's, oh Lord, I don't know what is happening. Let's see. Daughter has been diagnosed since 14. It's been very hard. It is hard. Hopefully you're getting some treatment from someone who specializes in BPD so that they're helping you figure out how to help her. Press my profile and you will see my bio. Oh, okay. Hey, Lori. Thanks for hopping on. We are just talking about my new Betrayal book that was just released, the BPD Skills Group. We've talked about splitting. We've talked about overcoming BPD, treatment for BPD, highly treatable. Some say one of the most treatable conditions in the DSM. So any questions about the book, about the group, about BPD, about mental health in general? I am going to stay on for just a couple more minutes and then I have to get going. So if you have a question, now is the time to ask it. Don't be afraid. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be ashamed. First of all, you're never going to see these people again. So ask your question. Secondly, if you have that question, somebody else probably does too. So any questions that you have, ask them. This is your sign, in case you're looking for a sign. I know sometimes we go looking for signs. How is the group? So if you mean like, how does it work? Or Rebecca, if you can say more about that. It's a subscription group. It's free for 7 days, and then it goes to $19.99 a month. After that, it's got a huge library of videos in it already. And then as soon as TikTok gives me permission, I'm going to be doing lives in there that are exclusive for the group. So if you have other questions about the group, please pop those in. Have you heard or know about a correlation of ADD meds helping with BPD? So ADHD meds helping with borderline personality. So ADHD meds are stimulants. I don't see those treating the symptoms of BPD. Now, I'm not a prescriber, so certainly, take it as you will and maybe ask a prescriber. But BPD or ADHD medications are generally stimulants. Now, I could see that they could help because they help someone sort of focus. And so if their brain, ADHD, your brain is understimulated. And so it's grasping at straws and trying to stay stimulated. So if it helps people kind of rein in their thoughts, maybe they're not thinking, maybe they're not having as many negative thoughts. Possibly, I don't know. It could be that it's helping someone with BPD because they also have ADHD, and it's just helping that, and that's helping their mood, which helps their emotional regulation. So I wouldn't say there's no way it's connected. I would just say I haven't heard about that directly. But if that's been your experience, tell us more about that. Oh, okay. Yeah, what is it about? Yeah, it's the group is about coping skills for BPD. So it's not a therapy group because I can't do that this way. But it talks all about how to cope with emotional dysregulation. We went through the 4 modules of DBT, dialectical behavior therapy, which is the cardinal treatment for BPD. And then I take feedback from people and build content around that as well. So. BPD and AD. Okay, hold on, y'all. We've detected inactivity during your current life. I don't ever understand this. I got to go fit this puzzle piece in this slot here to tell it that I'm human, I guess. I don't know. If somebody knows how to get around that, y'all please tell me. I have no idea why it does that. Anyway, BPD and ADHD and Adderall makes me tired. That's interesting. Well, I'm not sure what to say about that. I would definitely ask your prescriber about it. I mean, you're having. The first thing that comes to my mind is maybe you don't have ADHD, and that's why Adderall is not working for you. If you're pretty certain that you have it and it's been tested and diagnosed and everything, then maybe Adderall is just not the right medication. Maybe the stimulants don't work. There are non-stimulant treatments for ADHD, so those might be worth trying. And then there are supplements too. Excuse me, supplements too that can help with ADHD. So. Oh, Wander, tell me how to do that. That would be awesome. How can I manage the irritability that comes with BPD? So head back to my page. I've done a lot of videos about how to manage irritability, emotional regulation. Of course, we're talking about that extensively in my group. But basically, you have to mitigate your vulnerabilities. So there are environmental vulnerabilities, physical, emotional, psychological vulnerabilities popping off in and around us at any given time. And it's really about learning how to manage those. And the psychological vulnerabilities are the hardest. So if you find that you're reacting to things, you want to look at ways that you can respond differently. So minding that gap between perception and response, so that you want to learn how to respond versus react. So you have to do a deep dive into what's causing the irritability, what are the triggers, because your reactions don't just come out of nowhere, right? We don't buy those off the shelf at the grocery store. We respond to triggers in a certain way because it's setting something off within us. So you have to figure out what it is about these things that's triggering you first. And usually that links up with past experiences. And that links up with self-limiting beliefs, which are underlying beliefs that come from core beliefs we develop early in life. So it's kind of a progression. You got to do a deep dive into figuring that out. But go take a look for the videos where I talk about mitigating those vulnerabilities. I'm sorry, you guys. My dad just passed away yesterday. How can I manage my emotions in a time like this? Well, I think it's important to get some help to go through like a grief protocol. I actually have a grief course online. It's like $7 on the psychoeducationacademy.com. And it's called When You're Ready, a guide for walking through grief. And so it talks about grief and mourning and what those theories are. And then there are exercises and activities and a number of different things. I think self-care is really important when you're trying to manage your emotions and you're coping with grief. You got to take care of yourself. No one's going to do that for you. So lots of different answers for that. Okay, thank you, Wander. As a parent of a daughter with BPD, 4 years has been a nightmare that never ends. I want support. Rebecca, reach out to me. Let's see. She goes to therapy every week. Yeah, reach out to me if you want to get started with some therapy. I don't take any insurance, but I can give you a super bill that you can submit to your insurance company if you have insurance, and then maybe they'll reimburse you for part of that. Or, you know, there are other resources out there. You can look in your area for like sliding fee scale clinics. You can go on to drbellingrodt.com and look under the resources tab for books. There are lots of websites. There are online forums and different things that you can find for help with BPD as well. But let me know if I can help. Okay, you guys, I am going to wrap us up saying one new message, but I don't see where that is. You're welcome. Okay, Samuel, you're going to have to say more about that. And just reach out if there's something that I can help you with. Lindsay, you are welcome. I appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you for all the love and for joining and spending your afternoon. My wife suffers from BPD. So I've done some videos. Go back to my profile and look for videos on how to support people with BPD. You can also get your own therapy to figure out, to understand BPD better, to figure out how to set appropriate boundaries, things like that. Check the laws about New Zealand. Nothing saying I can't work with you, so I've messaged you. Okay, Kayla, I'll take a look at that message. I'm gonna need something that says like what the regulations are or aren't. We can talk more about that privately, but I have to have some documentation that it's okay. Just because you know, if somebody finds that later on, or if there's ever an issue, then I can lose my license. So, but I'll take a look at your message later and get back to you. Okay. Okay. What state are you in? I'm in Arizona, but I can in the United States, but I can practice in most states of the United States. So you can go to psypact.org, PSYPACT, and that tells you the states I can practice in, or you can message me and I can tell you if I can practice in your state. Okay, Kayla. Thanks. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here. I am going to wrap it up for today. Love to see you over in the subscription group. It's $19.99 a month. Your first 7 days are free. Check it out. See if you like it. Samuel, I offer all different kinds of therapy. So I have my BPD skills subscription group, which is not therapy, but it's a skills group. And then I offer individual treatment for help coping with living with someone with BPD, or if you have BPD, then that's the thing that I primarily treat. So okay. All right. I think I got everybody's questions. All right. I will see you guys next time. Thanks for being here.